Yes, people, what's happening? And welcome back to Gav Goes In. Boy, what a mad day today, guys. Mad day. I haven't seen too much news throughout the day, but then obviously just got back. And boy, Man City, man. Anton Semenyo, Mark Guehi now. I think that will definitely put City for me now firmly back in this title race. It's only 6 points as well. And for me, the way he's signing for 20 million is crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man. 20 million for a defender of that level, And I think there was talk about him going to Liverpool. I think Arsenal were interested as well, and I think there was even teams from abroad. I think there was Barcelona, possibly Real Madrid that were looking at him as a free transfer in the summer. But again, he's chosen Man City, and do you know what? It's a very good signing. Again, he can't play tomorrow, but getting in Mark Guehi, man, to the in this window, man, is good business. It's good business. Big up to Babs One Diva says, big up Gav. Hope you are well. Yeah, I'm all good. I'm all good. Hope you're well too. Hope you're all doing good. Big up to Foxy Danny as well, and big up to my guy Fitz LCN each and every time as well. Yeah, guys, as always, make sure you're smashing the like button. Make sure you're subbing to the channel, and make sure you share the channel as well. And as always, keep your questions and comments coming through. And yeah, as I said, keep your support coming through as well. It's much appreciated. So, you know what? Manchester Derby tomorrow, 12:30. Massive game between obviously Manchester United and Manchester City. Michael Carrick's first game, first game as manager in the Manchester Derby. Obviously his first game as interim boss as well. So yeah, man, it's going to be a tough game, obviously, for United, but in turn, I think it'll be a tough game for City as well, because the Manchester Derby is one of them games that, it doesn't matter about form of any teams. It's about the local rivalry. It's about who shows up on the day. And I think for so many reasons, Man United need to be getting their season, I would say, more or less, on track. And obviously City need to get the points to keep, up with Arsenal, obviously being 6 points clear at the top. And again, Arsenal play Nottingham Forest in the evening game at 5:30 away from home, which will be a tough game. So City are going to need to win the game and put the pressure onto United. And I think both teams, they're going to be going for it, and we're going to go through the potential lineups for both teams. I think he's going to put a surprise in, tomorrow, Carrick. I got a feeling that Carrick's team tomorrow, it wouldn't surprise me if he springs a few changes, a few surprises, but I'm going to go through his potential team, and then we'll see if we agree. Again, guys, make sure you're smashing the likes, and make sure you let me know what team you think Michael Carrick's going to play tomorrow. So Fitz says, look forward to hearing Jonas' opinion on the Guehi deal. Yeah, exactly. Because I think Jonas was he was pretty confident, man, that that Guehi was coming to Anfield. And as soon as I heard that Man City were in for him, there was talk about Guehi, wanting assurances that he's going to play regular football. But as soon as I see Man City in for him, I think it was obvious that he was going to go to Man City. Man City at the moment have got an injury crisis at centre back, and obviously Guehi coming in starts straight away. Gavardio, I think, might be out to the end of the season, and then you look at Max Alane, obviously youngster coming back from loan. You look at Kusanov, young defender as well, and then you've got John Stones and Ake, who probably won't be there next season. So yeah, listen, the signing of Mark Guehi, man, is a very smart signing. And at this moment in time, he's probably England's best centre-back. And to get him for 20 million is crazy, man. It's crazy. Big up to Babs One Diva. Big up for the super chat. Big up to yourself. So yeah, listen, let's get into Manchester United's predicted lineup. I think obviously Ahmad and Mbeumo coming back from AFCON. I've got a feeling, yeah, because I would like to see both of them start. But that means, juggling the team up, and not starting certain players, which I think, I would like to see certain players not start, but I just don't see it happening for me. But maybe the next game you might see a change. I don't know. Fitz says, is the Ligt back from injury yet? Nah, the Ligt's still injured. And again, I'm just hoping the Ligt is back for the Arsenal game. I think this game I would love to have the Ligt back, but again, the Ligt's still out injured. So let's hope he's back for the Arsenal game, because that's a game that we can't afford to not take points. So yeah, let's hope he's back, man, for that game. Let's go through the team then. So obviously, no surprises. Obviously, Sané Lemens in goal. I think Lemens, to be fair, I think there was a comment that I read out yesterday from someone saying that Lemens is very much rooted to his spot. And what I would say is maybe Lemens might be slightly low on confidence. I don't know. But what I would say is that there's a lot of potential with Lemens, and it would be good to see Lemens have a steady back line in front of him with confidence and not too many gaps from midfield to defence. And I think if you're going to get a solid back line in front of Lemens, I think you get a better Lemens. And again, he has conceded. I think he must have conceded. Has he conceded like in his last, 5 or 6 games or something like that? I heard the other day. But I do think Lemens is good, man. There's no surprises there. He's the number 1 right now, so he'll be starting off in goal. The defence is where, for me, I mean, it's going to be tough to see what he does. I think, right back's going to be Diogo Dalot. I think there's not going to be any surprises there. Obviously, Mazraoui still at AFCON in the final with Morocco. And I think once Mazraoui comes back, for me, he has to be the main right back in the 4. So I think Dalot tomorrow up against either Semenyo or Doku. I think Semenyo is definitely going to play for me, just whether he plays on the right or the left. I think we'll go through Man City's team in a minute, but I think him against Semenyo, again, if anyone remembers the game Man United against Bournemouth at Old Trafford, there was a bit of, as they say, handbags between Dalot and Semenyo. Because if anyone remembers, when Semenyo went up for the header and then Dalot tried to ride the challenge in midair, which would have been a serious injury for Semenyo. And I believe Semenyo won't have forgotten that. So he'll be up for this game. So I think Dalot will be at right back. And for me, Dalot's job for me tomorrow, will be literally containing Semenyo out there. I think Dalot's main strength of his game was his attacking. But I think attacking-wise, he's not as good. He's dropped off. But I think his job tomorrow will be to, support whoever's at centre-back, and try and support whoever's out wide as well. But mainly for me, he's got to be looking at, winning the battle between himself and whoever's going to be playing out on the left, which probably will be Semenyo. And I think that'll be a tough task for him, Evening, Gav. Sorry if you've covered this already, but do you think Glasner is lined up for United? You know what? I think it's pretty. Well, I wouldn't say it's pretty obvious, but I think everything will point to the fact that United will be in for Glasner, because the fact that Mateta is looking like he's going to Juventus, Mateta's come out saying that he wants Champions League football, and then you've got Guehi going to Man City, Glasner's leaving at the end of the season. They're losing 3 key players, and then all you got to look at now is Adam Wharton, and I think Adam Wharton will probably go at the end of the season. So that team's just being decimated. You think of Eze going, now you're losing your captain, your top goal scorer, and your manager. And then the last one now is Wharton. So, yeah, man, it's not good to see sometimes, but it was always going to happen, because you've got players there and a manager that definitely should be plying their trade for bigger teams. And that's what the likes of Guehi, the likes of Mateta, and even Glasner will be looking at. So, yeah, Glasner's definitely going to be in the frame for United job. Whether they choose him, I would like to see, personally, for myself, a De Zerbi. I wouldn't mind Xavi. I just want to see good football at this club. But, who knows with Carrick? I mean, I don't want to go down the same route that the club made with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in hiring him. But I think Carrick, man, if he does a good job, there could be another job elsewhere for him, maybe in this country or abroad. So we have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, man, I've got faith that Carrick will do well this season. Lemens isn't the finished product, but he will be world class. I don't know about, well, I think it's too early to say. I think what we've seen of him so far, there is positive signs, but I think world class, I'm not so sure at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, let's go back onto the team anyway. And guys, keep your questions and comments coming in. So for me, team tomorrow will be Lemens in goal, Dallo right back. I think left back will be Luke Shaw. And the reason Luke Shaw will play left back is purely because of his experience, and if you're looking at possibly Ryan Cherky playing out there, I'm looking forward to that battle because, Cherky for me is one of the best players already in this league. And he's very tricky. But again, Luke Shaw's strengths are his defending. Luke Shaw's got decent strength, decent pace. And his battle up against Cherky, Cherky's first Manchester derby as well, is gonna be important. So I think Patrick Dorgu will probably miss out. I think personally I would play Dorgu, but I think Luke Shaw's defensive and his experience, I think he'll play. And then that just leaves the two centre backs. And you know what the problem is now, yeah? The defence that he possibly might go with. I mean, who would have thought we would be looking at a Manchester United team in the Manchester derby? Because I've got a feeling he might start. I think Harry Maguire plays literally because Harry Maguire's physical and aerial presence. I think Carrick might use that against Erling Haaland to battle with Erling Haaland. But then that just means the centre back alongside him really needs to have pace. And you're looking at Aiden Heaven. You're looking at if you're going for a left-footed player, you got Aiden Heaven. If you're going for just general pace, you've got Lenny Yoro. But I've got a feeling he might play Lissandro again for the experience. And what I would say, yeah, if there's a defence tomorrow of Dallo, Maguire, Lissandro, and Luke Shaw, I think there's problems there. I think I wouldn't be confident going into a Manchester derby with that back four because all for different reasons, yeah, that they're four players for me that you would definitely be looking to move on. Maybe Harry Maguire if he's a backup centre-back. But I just got a feeling that Carrick might start those four. And if he does start those four, I don't know what to think. Me personally, I'd play Lenny Yoro. I'd play... I wouldn't mind seeing a Lenny Yoro and a Harry Maguire partnership. Harry Maguire on the left side of the centre-back. And then Lenny Yoro. And then probably Dallo because he's the only one. And then, Dorgu or Luke Shaw. But I think Carrick might play the team that I said. I think he's going to play, Lissandro, Maguire, Dallo, and Shaw. And I think if he plays that team, I think there's problems there. So Fitz says Maz, Yoro, Heaven, Dorgu at the back. Yeah, Mazraoui's not back yet, bro. He's at AFCON. Obviously, he's got the final coming up. So yeah, Mazraoui's not playing. Kobe, Casemiro, Cunha, Embuemo, Ahmad 10. And Sesko up front. And again, the team that you've mentioned, yeah, that's a team that I would like to see. The only difference I would like to see in that team would be Xerxes for Sesko. But I think because Sesko's got 3 goals in his last 2 games, I think Sesko will get the start. And again, I think you can't really blame Carrick too much because I think Carrick's going to want to see what players he has available to him and what the players can do. And then, if it's not going right, he'll probably change it and then try and go with a team that he has. But yeah, I definitely do think, man, that team you've just said there, Mazraoui, Yoro, I think the Ligt needs to come back in when he's fit. Dorgu at left back, yep, Kobe, Casemiro, Cunha, Embuemo, Ahmad in the 10, and Xerxes. That's the team that I've been crying out for, and let's hope Carrick, can see sense and, kind of get that kind of team going as well, Yeah, big up to Simon says, good evening to you. City's 4 main goal threats, Haaland, Semenyo, Foden, and Cherky. Any one of those could punish us. Haaland is on a mini goal drought. Yeah, but his record against United is very good. So yeah, I don't want to be judging anything at the moment. But yeah, we'll go through City's team in a bit. But yeah, the back four for me, I think it's going to be Shaw, Martinez, Maguire, and Dallo. And as I said, I'm not confident of that. The midfield two, again, I think there might be a bit of surprises here, or maybe not. I think he goes for Casemiro and Ugarte in there because I think mainly because of the protection. I think purely because they're playing up against Man City. The way that Carrick played the game, Carrick was one of them players that calm in possession, a deep line midfielder as well. I would like to think that he would want to play, more ball players and go with Casemiro and Kobe in there. But he's already said that he sees Kobe as more of an attacking player. So I think based on that, with what's available, it can only be either Ugarte. It can only be Ugarte to play with Casemiro. If he sees Kobe as a more attack-minded player, or maybe if he does play the 4-3-3 and has one player slightly deeper and plays two attacking box-to-box midfielders, then you might get a Kobe and a Bruno either side, or a Kobe and a Mount probably. Who knows? But I think he might play the two in there, and I think it's going to be Casemiro and Ugarte purely because of the protection and the legs that Ugarte has. And then I think this game is more or less to see what Carrick's working with, and then if he's not satisfied, this is when he probably might start changing things up. Now, going into the number 10 position, again, I would love to see Ahmad playing the 10, and I'm just hoping this is a way that not only Carrick, but I hope the next manager kind of identifies. If they're going to play a 4-2-3-1, I would love to see Ahmad being given a chance to play in the 10. And again, Ahmad's very tenacious. He's got the quality, he's got the skill, he's got the touch to play in that position. And he's creative, and he can go beyond the striker as well. So I'd like to see Ahmad eventually, be first choice in that position, but we'll have to wait and see. So I think based on the team, which I think he might pick for this derby, I think he'll probably play Bruno in the 10 with, as I say, with Casemiro and Ugarte behind it. And again, the team that I think he might go with, it doesn't really fill me with any confidence, if I have to be honest, But I think that's what he might do. And then I think on the right-hand side, I think Mbeumo plays. And I think Mbeumo plays purely because Mbeumo's a goal threat. And then where does that leave Ahmad? Because I've seen people saying that Ahmad will play on the left-hand side. Ahmad's not going to play on the left-hand side. Because if anyone knows Carrick doesn't play with left-footed players on the left or right-footed players on the right. So I think Mbeumo will get the nod because he's a goal threat. And then I think Cunha will play on the left-hand side. Or maybe he might go for a more workman-like player in Mason Mount. And then I think he'll be Sesko up top. And again, that team is not the team that I want to see. Because if it was my way in the 4-2-3-1, as you guys already know, I'd play Lamens in goal, my back four, because De Ligt's out injured. And Mazraoui's away, but I'd have Mazraoui at right back, Dorgo at left back, De Ligt and Yoro, or De Ligt and Heaven, if you want to try that, because Heaven's left-footed. And then I'd play Casemiro and Kobe as a midfield two until we go into the market for a Baleba, an Adam Wharton, someone like that. And then I'd play Ahmad in the 10, Mbeumo on the right, Cunha on the left, Xerxes up top. That's the team that I will play. But I think for this game, I think Carrick goes with the team that I've just mentioned. I think he goes with Sesko, Cunha, Mbeumo, Bruno, Ugarte, Casemiro, Shaw, Dallo, Martinez, Maguire, and Lamens. And I'll be honest with you, if he does go with that team, I'm not really confident of us getting a result, if I have to be honest, But we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll go for Man City's team in a bit and go through some of your comments and questions. I'd love to see Glasner in place. Yeah, listen, Glasner's one of the names that I wouldn't mind, but he isn't my first choice. Not because I don't rate him, but I just have other I just have other preferences personally. So I'd like to see a De Zerbi. I'd like to see a Zidane or a Xavi. I mean, Luis Enrique is a dream, which ain't gonna happen for me. But yeah, any manager that comes there and wants to play the best players and play some good football is welcome, you know. So we'll have to wait and see. What team do you support? Don't say United. Yeah, I'm a Man United supporter. I'm a football fan. I'm a student of football, I would like to say, you know. So I'm not just a Man United supporter. I'm a fan of football. So yeah. But yeah, Man United is my first team, definitely. Guys, make sure you're smashing the likes, make sure you're subbing to the channel, and make sure you're sharing the channel. And again, keep your questions and comments coming in. And as I said, I don't go through everyone's questions and comments. I only go through the ones that stand out. So yeah, big up. I'm glad Mbuemo is back. We needed to fill our hole in midfield. But yeah, but Mbuemo's not a midfielder. He's a wide forward. So yeah, he's not a midfielder really. He's a wide forward. Maguire has to start against Haaland. I think what Man United have available to them, you know, it isn't a bad shout. The only problem I say with that is if you're going to start Harry Maguire against Erling Haaland, his partner needs to have pace. And to me, it can only be either Aiden Heaven or Lenny Yoro. I think if he starts Martinez and plays Martinez and Harry Maguire, in transition, they're going to struggle, Man United, because it means that you're really going to be relying on Luke Shaw in that right channel, because if Haaland peels off to the side of, let's say, Lissandro and uses his aerial threat against him as well, you know, Luke Shaw's going to have to be on the cover. And again, we're going to go through Man City's team in a minute. This is why I think Heaven or Yoro have to play, purely because if you're going to play Harry Maguire, there needs to be pace alongside him. So I just don't know what he's going to do, man. But I'm looking forward to the team he puts out because, you know, I would love Carrick, yeah, to surprise us and drop a lot of the players that, you know, that a lot of the fan base think are going to play. You know, I'd like Carrick to do that, but I'm not too sure. So we'll have to wait and see. Shea Lacey suspended for this match. I think he might be, yeah, because he got sent off against Brighton. Yeah. So I think he's suspended. I'm not sure if it only applies to cup games, but Shea Lacey's obviously was never going to play anyway. Shea Lacey won't even get off the bench if he was available anyway, because Ahmad and Mbuemo are back and they play more or less in the positions that he plays anyway. So Mags and Marts, so Maguire and Martinez. Yeah, that's a problem if they both play together, man. That is a problem if they both play together for me, because, you know, we're going to go through Man City's team in a bit. But if Man City go the way that I think they might go, I think, you know, I'm not going to say it's going to be a bloodbath, but, you know, it's not going to be pretty, man. I'll be honest. So we'll have to wait and see. What's the score tomorrow you're having, Gav? I'm going to say, again, a lot of it's dependent on the team, innit? You know, if he plays the team that I mentioned earlier and City play the team that they could go with, I know it's a Manchester derby, but I'd probably say 3-1 City away from home, I'd have to go with. But again, a lot of it's going to be dependent on the team. If he plays a different team to what I've said, then I'll be more confident. But I think the fact that it's a Manchester derby, you know, I think he might probably go for the tried and tested, but I just don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see. Yoro's been stinking the place up. I don't think Yoro's been stinking the place up. I think Yoro is low on confidence. Again, Amarim, you know, destroyed a lot of players' confidence at the club. And I think with Lenny Yoro, the fact that Lenny Yoro's back in the four, you know, I think that'll be good for his confidence. And again, Lenny Yoro's a top defender, man. He's one of the top young defenders in the world, which is why we bought him. So he doesn't get bad overnight. So I think he'll be all right. He just needs to be settled in the team and getting consistent football. Yeah. And what I would say, guys, I saw a lot of people complaining about Yoro for the goal that Danny Welbeck scored against Manchester United, yeah, in the cup. Go and have a look at that goal again, and you'll clearly see that has nothing to do with Lenny Yoro. It's only because Lenny Yoro was like the last line of defense, which is why he's getting the blame. Because if you actually watch that goal, yeah, Ugarte actually had Danny Welbeck, and in what he done, he tried to pass on Danny Welbeck to Lenny Yoro rather than tracking the run. And again, there's no excuse really because Ugarte is known for his energy. So what he should have done is track the run, and then if he tracks the run, you know, Lenny Yoro becomes a spare man, and then that pass from Brian Gruder probably doesn't even get through. And not to mention, if you look at the fact that Lisandro Martinez wasn't even in position, you know, that isn't Lenny Yoro's fault. Lenny Yoro, for me, is absolved of any blame. The only thing people can probably say that Lenny Yoro should have done better at was probably shuffle his feet a bit quicker to shut off the shot. But if you look at the original play there, that had nothing to do with Lenny Yoro. Nothing to do with him. So, yeah. Guys, come on, there's 38 of you, 7 likes. Let's smash the like button if you're enjoying the content. And keep your questions and your comments coming through. Yeah, listen, AFCON, man. I haven't really watched AFCON myself, you know, too much. I mean, the only game I've really watched was the Ivory Coast against Cameroon. Obviously, you had Ahmad playing, you had Mbuemo and Baleba. So that's why I watched that game. I saw the last 15 minutes of the Egypt and Senegal game. But obviously, the finals, Morocco and Senegal, which should be a good final. So, but yeah, man, we need to get Mazraoui back. And obviously, he's going to strengthen that right-back position. So we have to wait and see. Yeah, listen, Maguire is a massive threat from set pieces. He is. And I think if he wasn't playing up against Erling Haaland, I don't know if he starts with what's available at the moment. I'm not too sure. But I do think Maguire starts the game, man, to compete with Haaland physically and aerially. You know, but for me, you have to have pace alongside him. And if it's Lisandro, I don't know, man. I'm not too confident with that pairing, to be honest. Let's see. It's 4-0 City, yeah? I don't know if you're trolling me, Darren, man, but 4-0 City. I don't think we're going to get beat 4-0, man. I think, you know, Carrick's going to set us up in a way to not be beaten 4-0. You know, and I think for me, with the team that he plays, it's important that there isn't too many gaps in that midfield. You know, for me, if he plays Ugarte and Casemiro, those two have to play slightly deeper, you know, and to try and stop the ball going into Erling Haaland, you know. So I think that would be a good idea to do. And then if you've got the number 10 in there as well, which probably will be Bruno, Bruno's going to have to be disciplined to stay in the center of the pitch and not go and pick up the ball from left and right and start spamming balls, you know. So I think that's going to be important. And this is why I want to see what Carrick does, because Carrick's imprint, you know, will probably be all over that team, you would say, even as early as this game. So I want to see what Carrick does. And for me, I think I don't think he's going to play the team that I want to see. But I think this game is more like a free hit. The Arsenal game, there can't be any excuses. There can't be any tinkering. He has to play a strong team to go over there and get a result for me, you know. Big Up Fitz says, can 100% see Dalot, Maguire, Martinez, Shaw being the starting back four, though. Hopefully, Carrick has already identified the issues. Yeah, but again, you know what it is, yeah? I wouldn't even blame Carrick too much, yeah, if he does play that back four, because the way that I'm looking at it is he probably wants to go for tried and tested and experience. And again, if you're looking at Carrick, I know he's an interim manager, you know, to protect himself, he might want a bit of experience in the back line rather than going for the players that we want to see. So it is a difficult one because it's the Manchester derby. You know, if it wasn't Manchester derby and it was, let's say, I don't know, Burnley, then for me, I'd like to see the team he would probably go with and go from there. But I think he might go for that four. And I think that four, for me, might struggle, you know. So, But let's wait and see, man. Big up to Mike, Willie. Big up. Big up. So Simon says my lineup: Lamens, Dallo, Maguire, Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Mainu, Bruno, Cunha, and Sesko. 4-2-3-1. Yeah. Again, I wouldn't have Bruno in there. I mean, the back four I wouldn't play, but it's what's available. You know, I'd like to see Xerxes playing, and I think Xerxes for me, he has to start this game, which I'm not sure if he does. But the reason Xerxes has to start this game is because City are going to dominate possession. Yeah, and when Man United get the ball, the most important thing is when you play the ball up to the striker, they've got to be adept at holding the ball and linking the play. And Xerxes does that better than Sesko. So this is why Xerxes for me has to start the game. But I'm expecting Sesko to start because he's got 3 goals in his last 2 games. So this might be something that Carrick might have to learn. But Xerxes for me against a Man City, it will be essential for him to start the game because he's going to be up against Kusanov and Max Alain, you would think. Obviously, Max Alain's inexperienced. Kusanov the same, is young. So I don't think it'd be a good idea to have a Sesko playing the way he's been playing. Like I'll say, the way he's been playing, but playing on the shoulder and not getting hold of the ball, because you've got Kusanov that can match him for pace. Kusanov's also aggressive as well, and if you've got a Xerxes that can hold the ball up, you know he can draw the fouls. And this is why, for me, I would definitely start Xerxes, but I'm expecting Sesko to start. But let's hope that that Carrick can surprise us. Who knows, man? Who knows? But yeah, the 4-2-3-1. As I said, the fact that Carrick has said that he sees Kobbie Mainoo as an attacker, you know, I don't think he was just saying that. And when you're looking at him saying he's just an attacker, yeah, he sees him as an attacker, that can only be in the 4-2-3-1 as a number 10. Or if he plays a 4-3-3, he plays Kobbie as an advanced playmaker. Because if you're saying he's an attacker and he's not a deep lying player, then Kobbie can't be playing with Casemiro as a 2. So these are the things that I'm going to look forward to seeing what Carrick does. You know, and as I said yesterday, don't be surprised if there's a game this season that Carrick plays Kobbie in the 10. Don't be surprised. Oh, yeah, you know what? I just noticed that. So, yeah, Lamens, Dallo, Maguire, Martinez, Shaw, Casemiro, Mainoo, Bruno. Yeah, you're missing a player, man, Simon. You're missing a player. I didn't even clock that. Big up Fitz, man. I didn't even clock that. Big up to Mamba says, yes, big up. What's your score prediction for the game? So, as I said earlier, man, I think the team that Carrick might play, I'm going to say, I'm going to have to say 3-1 to City. But again, I'm going to go through City's team because I think Pep might play this way. Well, he's got 2 teams he could play, you know, and we'll go through it in a minute. Big up to Black Mojo King says, I might stick to Xerxes in the 10, Sesko up top with Cunha on the left and Ahmad/Mbeumo on the right. Yeah, big up, man. I hear it. But there's one common denominator in all this, you know, because you know my thoughts on Bruno Fernandes, you know. I don't rate Bruno as a player like that. I don't rate him, yeah? And Bruno wouldn't start in my team. But I think the fact that Carrick's his first game, you know, and it's a Manchester derby, Bruno's obviously been made the captain, you know, does Carrick drop Bruno for this game? I mean, I would love Carrick to spring a surprise and do that, but I don't know if he does it for this game. So that team you said there, I wouldn't mind seeing Xerxes in the 10, even though I prefer him in the 9. And then Ahmad or Mbeumo, Cunha. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, I love my preferences, but I can't see him dropping Bruno for the first game, you know. But listen, we can all like be optimistic to see what he's gonna do, but I can't see it at the moment. Haaland hasn't scored for 2 games, so he'll be looking forward to ending his drought. I guarantee you this, guys, yeah? If City score, it'll be from Haaland. Haaland will score tomorrow. I've just got a feeling. Because if he's playing up against Martinez and Maguire, I dread to think what he's going to do to them. You know, and I'm not saying that Harden's a top player. He's a top goal scorer. But in terms of an actual player, you know, I think there is flaws to his game. But if he's playing up against Harry Maguire that hasn't had much game time, and Lissandro, who's a liability for me, I can see him getting a goal, man. You know, who do you think's the secret midfielder is? Yeah, listen, I've heard this today. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I think personally, yeah, it could be something to, you know, to get everyone excited. It could be like a ploy to make fans, you know, United fans, think that they're gonna go for a loan deal, but really they're going for a top target. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is we need to be getting in a Carlos Baleba. Get Baleba in. If Baleba can't be bought in January, you know, you go and get two midfielders in the summer, Baleba and a Wharton or an Anderson. And imagine if you've got a midfield of Baleba, Kobe Mainu, Wharton, you bring through Sekou Kone, you keep Casemiro for the experience. You know, I think that's decent. I do think that's decent. But who knows? Who knows what's on the cards? You know what? I'm glad you mentioned. I think you're mentioning. Is it Murillo from Nottingham Forest? You know, Murillo's a very good player. You know, and I think for me, I can see Murillo because again, left-footed centre backs they're rare. You know what I mean? And again, he's had a good time at Nottingham Forest, and I think someone like Murillo. I'm kind of surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if a team like, I mean, if you're looking at Aston Villa, for argument's sake, yeah, I know they've got Pau Torres, who's left-footed, yeah, but they've got Mings. Mings will probably be moved on, yeah. I think personally, you know, they should go and get a Murillo and partner Murillo with Ezri Konsa. And then you've got Murillo and Pau Torres as the two left-footed centre-backs. Then you've got Konsa, you know, Lindelof obviously is there as well, can back him up. So, and Aston Villa, you know, but I think he might cost a lot of money, Murillo. That's the only problem. But they should be looking at a player like him for me. I don't think the likes of Arsenal will go for him because they got Gabriel there. You know, Chelsea have got Colwell coming back, but you know, I wouldn't. They should look at him as well. United, I mean, I would like United to go for Murillo, but obviously Heaven's there, and there's no point going for Murillo when you got Heaven. I mean, if they was to sell Lissandro, I mean, Murillo for me would be a very good target. You know, funny enough, actually, I've got Murillo in my team in my team on FIFA. So, but I think Murillo could be on the move in the summer as well. But I wonder if Nottingham Forest price him out of a move. If Maguire plays, I'd play Heaven alongside him for the pace and recovery. Martinez isn't that fast, and Haaland has a lot of pace. Yeah, exactly what I said earlier. Big up to Mike. So yeah, I think it's important for me to see a pace alongside if you're going to play Harry Maguire. You know, playing Harry Maguire and Lissandro, I don't think that's going to work. You know, and you know we'll have to see what Carrick does. You know, is Sesko slowly brewing, Gav? No, listen. Sesko has Sesko in terms of his performances. I think he's been decent, nothing more than decent. You know, and he's got 3 goals in his last 2 games. You know, 3 good goals. You know, a header, good header, and his second goal against Burnley was a very good finish. But for me, Xerxes should be the main 9 for me. I've always said that. And if you got Xerxes and you got Sesko and you got Sesko coming off the bench, you know, I'm not too fussed with that really, because I think both players, you know, under a Carrick or under a possession-based manager, I think you're going to see better from them. So we'll have to wait and see. Have you seen much of Rayan at Vasco da Gama? Watched him last night. 19 years old and a serious talent. Bournemouth in for him, 30 mil. We should be too. Yeah, big up, man. I haven't seen Rayan, to be honest with you, man. Let me know what you think he's like. But yeah, I've seen that Bournemouth are trying to get him to replace Semenyo, and I mean, to be honest with you, the likes of Bournemouth and teams like that, they don't really make too many mistakes when they go and sign replacements. So, um, yeah, I haven't seen him, man. So if anyone's seen Rayan, let me know what kind of player he's like, you know. But yeah, 30 million for a talent is not too bad. Right, let's go through, guys. I'm gonna get back onto some of your comments afterwards. Gonna go through Man City's lineup. Um, actually, let me go through some of your comments just so I'm up to date, so I don't miss anything. Um, let's see. Big up to Gamer. Big up. A draw would be a great result. I mean, for Arsenal it would be, yeah. Let's see. From the training clips, you could see and hear Carrick putting emphasis on closing the gaps, especially through the midfield and through the middle. But again, Mike, it's important, man, because the one problem with Ruben Amorim, yeah, is that the gaps in midfield was a massive problem, and this is where the sort of nonsense about Casemiro came from. And there's no one that's going to make me believe that Casemiro is a bad player, Casemiro has never played in the midfield where there's so many gaps. Look at him for Real Madrid, I know Real Madrid, probably like 85% of the time dominated the ball. But even in transition, you never found the likes of a Casemiro out of position or left isolated. And too many times he's been that for Manchester United. And as I said, the one thing Carrick knows as a midfielder is to hold position, and I think that's what he's going to bring to this team, hopefully. So, yeah, I'm just hoping, man, that we see a much better performance and a more compact midfield. And I think this is why he probably plays Ugarte with Casemiro tomorrow for that. So let's see. Yeah, forget Arsenal, man. We got them next week. I can't wait for that game. Had this been a cup game, who would you put out? If it was a cup game at home and we were playing, I don't know, let's say a Wolves at home, I'd play the team that if everyone was available, the team that I said earlier. But obviously, the Lick's out injured, so yeah. So Xerxes will come on for Sesko in the last 30 minutes. Yeah, probably. Yeah, big up Clock Ender says, you doing us this favor or what? Bro, listen, man. There'll be no favors. As I said, man, I think City probably win the game. I think they probably win the game 3-1, if I'm honest, because, I think they've drawn their last 3 games and they're not going to want to drop any more points. And the fact that they've got Semenyo in, the fact that they've got Guehi coming in now as well. Listen, the pressure's on Arsenal, man, because they're going to go to Nottingham Forest 5:30. And listen, we're going to see what they're going to do, man, because I tell you now, Arsenal got some tough games coming up and there's going to be points dropped, I promise you. So, but let's see what happens tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing what reception Carrick gets when he leaves the team out. Yeah, Carrick will get a big reception. He will. Like, Carrick was a top player, top player. And obviously, when he came in at Man United for the couple of games he did, he done a good job. So he'll get a big reception tomorrow, no doubt. I know this might be controversial, but I'd sell Martinez in the summer. His only benefit is he's a ball player, and besides that, he's a liability. But again, Mike, that's not controversial. I think the very fact that you've got Aiden Heaven, who's left-footed, who's physically stronger than Martinez, who's quicker than Martinez, and he's just as good on the ball as Martinez, it just tells you that Martinez's profile isn't that much required. It's not. So that'll be something that they'll have to think about. Again, I've not heard nothing about Martinez being moved on, but the fact that Aiden Heaven is a similar profile, but he excels in other parts of his game. You know, as I said, Lissandro isn't that much required anymore. That's the truth. Because three at the back, he's a liability. And even if you're playing him as a four, you know, if you're going to play him next to De Ligt, let's say, do I think that's a great partnership? You know, De Ligt is aggressive. You know, he's his reading of the game is very good. But do they go with a De Ligt and Martinez partnership? I'm not too sure. But again, you got Yoro. And the fact that we're going back to a 4 as well is positive, because it means that you've got a lot of players now that can play in their rightful positions. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Up the Villa. Guys, who are Aston Villa playing tomorrow? Who are they playing tomorrow? Because I think, you know, that's 3 points there that they'll be aiming for. Kazmat Chimaev and Sharabullet. I don't even know who Sharabullet is. But Chimaev, again, I haven't really been watching UFC too tough, if I'm honest, man. I need to get back into it, if I'm honest. I'd say Rayan is like an Mbappe, if anything. Big lad, very quick, carries the ball well, and cuts him from the wing. Think he'd be well suited to English football, snip at 30 mil. But what I would say, man, if he's like Mbappe, yeah, because of the hype that Mbappe's got, if Rayan's like Mbappe, he wouldn't be going to Bournemouth. No disrespect. He wouldn't. He'd probably be going to an Aston Villa and then making a step up from that. So, you know, obviously, again, I haven't seen him, but the reality is, you know, if you're saying it's a bit like Mbappe and the hype is real, let's say, then he probably wouldn't be going to Bournemouth. He'd probably be going to, you know, no disrespect, a bigger team than that. But again, I've not seen him play, so I have to wait and see. Guys, make sure we're smashing the likes as well. Make sure we're subbing to the channel. Gav, I've heard reports going around Yagati is going to be sold to a Turkish club. Listen, I hope so. I hope so. Do I think it's going to happen in this window? I don't, because Man United need midfielders, and again, you can't be letting go of one when you're not sure of bringing one in. So I think Yagati for me is an end of season one. You know, end of the season, I don't want to see this guy line up in my team no more. So I definitely do think he goes end of the season. City's gonna beat United's arse, boy. Less of that. Less of that. Let's see, man. Let's see. Do you think Christopher Nkunku will shine again? Depends what you mean by shining. Wait 1 second. Chelsea are close to signing centre-back this month, and also midfielder or forward if opportunity materialises. Yeah, listen, I heard Chelsea are trying to get, is it Jeremy Jacquet from Lille? And he's been likened to Lenny Yoro, you know, and I think Chelsea are trying to get him, but there's no surprise there, man. We know what Chelsea do. So, yeah. But again, yeah, Nkunku, do I think he shines again? I don't know, man. I don't know. Also, Villa play Everton on Sunday at 4:30. Okay, Villa at home. Jack Grealish going back to Villa Park. I think that'll be a tough game for Villa, but Villa at home, they're a problem. They're a problem at home. Big up to Baz Wandiva with the super sticker. Oh, sorry, the super chat, should I say? Big up, big up. Gab, what's your predictions? What for the Man United game? I'm gonna say 3-1. I think 3-1 Man United. Man United. I'm gonna say 3-1 Man City. But again, I'm gonna go through Man City's team. And I'm gonna go through what I think Pep might do. So I think personally, Um, I think what he does tomorrow, Donnarumma obviously will be in goal tomorrow. Um, Obviously he was rested against Newcastle. The back four is going to play because Ait Nouri's back now as well. But I think O'Reilly starts tomorrow at left back, Nunez at right back, and then it's going to be Kusanov and Max Alain, and that's because there ain't no other options. I think Ake might be. I'm not sure if Ake's injured because Ake might play for his experience, but Kusanov will play, and it's either going to be Alain or if Ake's fit, he might get a nod. I'm not sure. But I think what's going to be important is their midfield because Rodri's back, and I think Rodri probably starts. And again, Rodri back in that midfield for them, it's going to be a massive plus. So I think Rodri will probably be in there. But obviously, Nico Gonzalez has been doing a decent job. Do they go for two sort of robust midfielders, or is he going to play Rodri and Bernardo Silva in there? I'm not sure. I think he goes with Rodri, and I think he goes with Bernardo Silva. And then this is where I think it could change, yeah? Because I personally think, yeah, if he wants to try and kill the game earlier on, Pep, yeah, I wonder if he goes for out-and-out pace and strength in Semenyo on one wing and Doku on the other. But that means the likes of Cherki or Foden won't play. So, again, he's got options. Does he go with just pure pace and power on the flanks and play like a creative number 10 in a Cherki in there? And then, obviously, Erling Haaland up top? Or does he go with Cherki from the right, Foden, Semenyo, Haaland? But I think whatever team he does, he's got options off the bench anyway. So, but I think he might go a bit cautious, Pep. I think he might go with Cherki, Foden, Semenyo, and Erling Haaland. I think he might do that. And then have Rodri and probably Bernardo Silva, which means Reinders on the bench, Doku on the bench. They've got options, put it that way. So I don't know what he's going to do, man. I don't know. But the team sheet tomorrow will be interesting for both teams because, as I said, I think both managers have got options to just go. Like I think definitely with City can go a bit more gung-ho with the options they've got. But I think he kind of is going to play a bit more conservative, and probably allow United to come onto them. And I think what City have as well, the fact that they've got Semenyo in now as well, they've got serious pace now. They've got serious pace in the front line. If you think of Haaland, you think of Semenyo, Doku, these guys, have all got burners. So it's one of them things where City can keep the ball, and play, and play quite compact in there, and then hit you in transition with the pace, or they can go for your throat and play just pure pace out there, and obviously have Haaland's pace as well through the middle. And then you've got Cherki, Foden with their guile and quality. So again, man, it's going to be a tough game for United, but I'm looking forward to seeing how Carrick sets up with what team he plays. And this is what it's going to be. It's going to be a good tactical battle, because Pep in these kind of games, he always tries to throw up some kind of surprises. But I don't know if... I don't know what he's going to do. I don't think Reinders starts tomorrow, if I'm honest. I think Reinders might be on the bench. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man. Let's see. Gav, I think Sesko will score tomorrow. Maybe Maguire will score, hopefully. Well, yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see. I definitely do think it's going to be an interesting game, man, because for me personally, both teams cannot afford to lose, and that makes it a dangerous game because City need to keep the pressure on Arsenal, and obviously go 3 points before Arsenal play Forest. And then you've got United need this Champions League. And guys, let me know what you think about, do you think Man United will get Champions League football next season? Because I'm looking at the one game a week. I'm looking at the squad that we have. Carrick, being able to implement his coaching on his team, and hopefully he can play the right players in the right positions. I don't think we should be aiming for anything less than Champions League, the way this season's gone so far. So, and yeah, listen, big up to Simon. So, yeah, we need to be making Old Trafford a fortress again. We do, you know. Yeah, man, the fact that teams are coming to Old Trafford and just taking points, I don't remember that from my lifetime of watching United. I always looked at United at home and you could more or less guarantee it was 3 points. You know what I mean? So the fact that, we're just getting beat left, right and centre, and a lot of that was done under Ten Hag. It was done under Amarim as well. Carrick needs to be making Old Trafford a fortress, man, no doubt. And this starts tomorrow, man, at 12:30. For me, United should go Cunha, Mbeumo, Ahmad, and counter. I don't think so. I don't think so, because you have to remember, yeah, City are gonna dominate possession, like they are, because they always dominate possession. So if you're dominating possession, your striker needs to be good at linking the play and being reliable to hold the ball up. So if you're gonna go for Cunha through the middle, that isn't Cunha's game. Cunha's a maverick. So this is why Xerxes for me has to play, but I don't think Xerxes starts. I'll be surprised if he does. But Man United, as soon as they get the ball, they're gonna need to be they're gonna need to keep it. So it's not about going gung ho or going counter against City. That for me would be the worst thing to do. Because that means the ball really, if you're gonna play like that, you're just relying on moments. And I want to see Man United build up, build up their play, not rely on moments, because I'm sick and tired of that. And as I said, Ahmad for me against the Man City, I'll definitely start an Ahmad because of his quality. And again, Man United need a lot of players that are comfortable in possession to keep the ball. So that's why I'll start Ahmad. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what Carrick does, man, because who knows, man. My second team is Bristol City. Living in Bristol, watched a lot of Semenyo when he was there. Could literally see his development game by game. Unreal talent, but took some time to know how to apply it. Yeah, big up, man. Like Semenyo's come from non-league as well, man. So he's had a good career, you think of it. And obviously they had Alex Scott as well, who's at Bournemouth. Alex Scott was formerly of Bristol City as well. And he's a good player, Alex Scott at Bournemouth. So England international, I think, as well. Or did he get... I know he got correct with the squad, but I think he might have got injured, actually. But, yeah, listen, man. Semenyo going to Man City now. I think Scott, he might get a future move somewhere as well. Obviously, Bristol City are doing something right down there, What do you think about Real Madrid? I think that Real Madrid, for me, they're always one of them teams where the players, like, they don't build teams. They just get individuals, And the fact that Xabi Alonso got sacked is not really a surprise, because Xabi Alonso, the way he was playing with Bayer Leverkusen, that was never going to happen at a club like Real Madrid, because the standards are a lot higher. It's more or less, you would say, run by the players in a sense. You know what I mean? First and foremost, at Real Madrid, you have to be a good man manager. And the very fact that he fell out with Vinicius Junior. I heard the other day as well that he fell out with, well, not fallen out, but your captain, Valverde, is unhappy. And I sense Valverde was unhappy because Valverde is one of their best midfielders, along with Camavinga for me, yeah? And he was doing that right back because Carvajal's out injured, Trent's out injured. And because Valverde is versatile, he's been playing right back. But the problem is that when you've got Jude Bellingham playing in midfield and Valverde's doing that right back, it's only a matter of time before Valverde starts becoming unhappy because, as I said, he's the captain. He's better than Jude Bellingham as well. But yet he's playing right back, while Jude Bellingham, in a sense, is stealing the living, playing midfield for Real Madrid. So it's crazy, man. But I always said, yeah, with Real Madrid, as soon as they brought in Mbappe and Vinicius Junior together, someone's going to drop off. And at this moment in time, it's Vinicius Jr. I'd probably say that Vinicius Jr. has to move to become a number one player elsewhere, because as long as Mbappe's here with the PR around him, you know, he's gonna be number one at Real Madrid. You know, I want to see Arda Güler play, because Arda Güler for me is one of the best young players in the world. You know, and the fact that he can't even play regularly because for some reason Bayern's playing in the 10 is criminal to football. So as I said, man, Arda Güler I want to see play. But Real Madrid are one of them teams where they're never going to be shit for too long, because the standards from the fans, from the board, Perez, is high. So the fact they sacked Xabi Alonso wasn't a surprise. Arbeloa is there now. Obviously, they're struggling at the moment, but yeah, they'll be back, man. They'll be back, no doubt. Gav, we will make top 4. We see how Carrick set up. I think is possible. We have to make Champions League football. You know what I mean? It's a must, especially the way the season's been going. I don't know how Carrick's going to do it, but for me, it needs to be done. Yeah, listen, there's a lot of egos, and that's why it worked. That's why Carlo Ancelotti, what he done at Real Madrid, can't be overestimated, you know, or underestimated, should I say? Even Zidane, because when you look at Zidane and you look at Ancelotti, yeah, you've got two people there that have high respect in the game. Zidane from his playing, Ancelotti from his managing, and the best thing that these guys do is tap into the player's psyche, you would say. So because they're man managers. And if you're a man manager and you've got your best players or your highest profile players on side, that's half the job done, really, because that's what it's about. But I think Xabi Alonso was trying to implement a play that he done at Bayern Leverkusen. And you have to realize this is Real Madrid, not Bayern Leverkusen. You know, so this is where he lost it for me. And again, when they're painting it as a mutual termination or mutual agreement, what he's done, yeah, is that they've sacked him, yeah, but to make it look good on his CV, they're saying that is a mutual agreement. Yeah, that's all it is, you know. But he was always on the verge of getting a sack. He was never going to last there because the standards there are just different to many clubs, you know, and it is what it is. Yeah, I would say Maresca. I think Maresca could be in the shout for next Real Madrid job. I definitely do think that. Yeah, I definitely do think that, man. It is what it is. But guys, listen up. We're gonna wrap it up anyway. So again, obviously, Man United versus Man City match preview, Manchester derby. So let's see what team Carrick goes with, man. I'm looking forward to seeing the team that Carrick goes with, man, because I'm more or less hoping, yeah, that he does spring a few surprises, and there's certain players that, you know, we can all guess are going to play. But I'm hoping Carrick just says, you know what, I'm going to do it my way and change a couple of things. I would love nothing better than to see him do that, you know. So we'll have to wait and see. And as I said, like, let's see what City do, because does Pep go for the jugular straight away? Or does he, you know, have the attackers, the pace and that off the bench to try and change the game? Who knows, man? But yeah, I'm gonna say 3-1 City based on what I think Carrick might do. You know, so but let's hope, man. United can get a result, you know, and get this Michael Carrick train going, man. And then obviously we aim for the Champions League places, and then next season we go and get one of the top managers, top coaches, and we go and invest in this team, man. And that's what I'll be hoping for, but we'll have to wait and see. So let's see, man. We're looking forward to it tomorrow. I'll probably do, guys, a match reaction to the game tomorrow. It might be in the evening. If it's not in the evening tomorrow, then I'll do one on Sunday. Because I'm not sure what I'm doing tomorrow yet. So as I said, if after the game, if I don't do one straight after the game or in the evening, it'll be Sunday. So yeah, make sure your notifications are on for that. Big up to all the mods. Big up to all the newcomers. Big up to all the regulars as well for coming through. And yeah, let's see what United can do under Carrick tomorrow. But yeah, man, Manchester Derby is going to be a good game. And the following week, guys, we got Arsenal. As I said, I will be doing a watch-along for the Arsenal game, a live watch-along. So I'm going to have people coming on. As I said, Fitz will be coming on. I'm going to get Owen to come on as well, who's another Man United fan. And again, if you're an Arsenal fan and you want to jump on the stream, let me know. And I can sort it out for you guys to come on the stream and do the watch-along for this massive game next week. You know, this is the game I'm looking forward to. So let's see what happens. But guys, as always, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you share the channel. Make sure you sub to the channel as well if you've enjoyed the content. I'm just under 100 away from 2K subs. So on the road to 2K, obviously trying to grow the channel. And as I said, if you do enjoy the content, there's a lot of content on there, guys. There's a new playlist that I'm working on at the moment. You know, there's been some good feedback from people as well in terms of the players that they want me to do, to talk about. So, yeah, it's under Greats of the Game. So, yeah, make sure you guys give that a watch. And, again, there's loads of other content on there from different playlists. So, yeah, give that a check. And, as I said, let's hope tomorrow is a positive result for United. Yeah, big up, Glossy Pom Pom, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. Big up. But as I said, guys, big up to yourselves for coming on each and every time. Smash the like, sub to the channel, share the channel, and let's see what United do tomorrow. Let's come on Michael Carrick, man. Let's get a positive result, and then next week we got Arsenal. So let's see. But yeah, guys, have a good rest of your Friday. If I don't speak to you guys, or you know, if I don't see you guys on the channel, have a good weekend, and yeah, we go again. Big up yourselves and take it easy.